I went to a singles conference on Friday, and my spirit, while I was there, my spirit told me, no más, por favor. I am not going to no more of these. Okay? That rhymed, period. I'm not going to anymore. And here's why. So
Why?
that singles event was cool because they actually had a mix and mingle session at the end where they put us in a very cool atmosphere for people to talk and meet with each other.
Okay.
Although there was like 3 men there and 300 women, I loved the fact that they did that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, we're not going to skip over that. 3 men and 300 women sounds about right. Not surprising at all because they know the quality of women. We're talking about Christian women here in most likely feminist leaning churches, surprised that no men want to show up to singles conferences. Why? Because the idea is that they lead to marriage and they just know most of these chicks aren't marriage material. Let's keep listening.
Really cool. But my thing is, you go to one single event, you go to them all. They got the same message, and I'm going to tell y'all what they be saying so that you can know ahead of time.
Okay.
If you feel like you're called to go, go. If you feel like the Lord is telling you to go, go. If you've never been, go. If you want to mix and mingle with other single people, go. But let me tell you, this is going to be the singles conference starter pack. I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. Okay? In no particular order. Enjoy your singleness. They are going to compare singleness in so many ways to an amusement park. You should be having the time of your life, okay? Being single, all right? It is just a season, whether it's been 10, 20, or 25 years.
That's a long season. Sounds like a sentence to me, a life sentence.
It is just a season. That's what they're going to tell you. You aren't ready. In so many words, they're going to tell you, you may or may not be ready. You may need more healing, more therapy, more this, more that. Get your money up, whatever they're going to tell you. Your person may not be ready. He may not have been released from whatever it is the Lord is doing. So the Lord is still pruning him or her wherever they are on planet Earth. We don't know.
Right,
and what time they're showing up, we don't know. But you may not be ready, and they may not be ready.
Interesting.
There's going to be a married person at these events that is going to tell you, when I was single, I took it for granted. That's what they're going to say. And they're going to tell you so much that you need to enjoy your solitude, enjoy your time. Why? Because you have more time to dedicate to the Lord. And that is very true. But they're going to tell you this at every single singles conference. And that married person is going to almost make it seem like they missed their alone time in so many words, okay? Wait on the Lord is going to be played ad nauseum. And I love Wait on the Lord.
Wait, so you're telling me the married, who most likely is a chick, or a pandering male, the Devon Franklins, or the other guy, I forget his name, but he was interviewing the shy and bright lady. You're going to tell me that they're sitting there sounding like they miss being single and they're telling you to wait. And you're thinking, okay, well, I know the messages and I'm doing that, so I'm not going to attend. You're not thinking that they're lying to you. You're not thinking that if you want a drastic change to your dating life, you're going to have to make drastic changes in your personal life. Let's keep listening.
That song hits me right here for reasons. But they're going to play it ad nauseum. And the overall theme of a singles conference is wait. Wait. Hold on. Como se dice wait. Okay? Single panels. There's going to be a single panel. It's going to be single women. And it is going to be some particular woman is going to be almost 50 and she looks 30. That's always the case. And then there is going to be men of a certain age that are not married, but they are not single. Just let me let you know, they're probably not single.
Clapping cheeks.
Now, obviously, I can't speak for every single panel, but they're going to be talking about worldly things. And I get it because the dating pool out here is crazy. So, and they're going to sprinkle in the culture stuff. But those men on that panel probably have a baby and probably have a girlfriend. They're not single.
Or 2 or 3. Oh, man, they run through these chicks in the church. The men that pander have got crazy rotations in the church.
They're not married in their 30s. Anywho, steward your singleness well. Get your money up. Focus on you. Focus on your purpose. Focus on what the Lord called you to do. Steward, harvest, sow, and what am I trying to say? Sow and reap? Yes. And then of course they're gonna beat you over the head with Paul, okay? Because Paul is the GOAT in this department, and he's not wrong. A lot of this stuff is not wrong. It's just you're gonna get the same regurgitation of information, okay? Jesus was single. Well, duh, because he was the Messiah sent to save humanity. So of course he's single. That one I'm sick of hearing. Okay? Okay. Now that is the little single conference starter pack that you will get. Tell me in the comments what I missed, because I know there's more.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Now, where I disagree is that stuff is true. I think too many Christians do too much waiting and not enough action. Doesn't matter what it is. This is a general thing I've observed growing up in the church, someone who identifies as being Christian, waiting on the Lord to bring me a job, not applying for, they don't exercise the free will that God has given them. Waiting on the Lord to give me inspiration for a business, waiting on the Lord to send some money somewhere to drop from the sky, but you have 2 hands and you have 2 feet. Waiting on the Lord to bring me a husband. There will be a husband who will be able to deal with all that I come with to the table, and I won't have to compromise anything. If you have something that you want done in this life, God will not, and this goes beyond dating and relationships, God will not help you with what he's given you the power to do yourself. What do I mean? You have to do, there's a whole lot of scripture on this too. It talks about the sluggard. It tells you to observe the ant. Ants never stop working. You need to do the work. And also, you need to stop listening to panderers within churches. That's what I've observed. And it's getting worse. I mean, when I was in church, there were a lot of single chicks, but it seems like it's getting worse. We're going to read a few comments here. And of course, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Top comment here says, I keep hearing this. It seems like men are okay with being single if they are not showing up to these events. I heard the clubs are getting low too. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, right? The chick who says that she's wifey material and claims to be Christian. It's not me saying that I've never been to a club or that I'm, better than people that go to clubs. It's not what it is. But I'm saying if you're going to the club looking for a husband and you're also going to church looking for a husband, that's the mentality of the modern woman and even the Christian modern woman. But this is true. I want you to notice she says, it seems like men are okay with being single. This may be contrary to what people say, because the question is, what about this lonely epidemic that we keep on hearing that men are going through? Is this not a solution to that problem? Don't they want to solve that problem of this loneliness that men are going through? This is also an answer you can find in scripture. And just to make sure I'm quoting this right, because last time I kind of butchered it, I'm going to ask Miss Coffee to find that scripture for us. Miss Coffee, what's the scripture that talks about a man who would rather pretty much be alone, lonely, in misery, than to be trapped in a house with a contentious, difficult modern woman?
You're most likely thinking of a passage from the book of Proverbs, which repeatedly uses imagery to show that it's better to live in less than ideal conditions than to share a house with a contentious or quarrelsome spouse. Here are 2 commonly cited verses in the King James Version that convey this idea. Proverbs 21:9, KJV, it is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house.
Brawling woman. Brawling woman. That means you like to fight. That means you like to fight. You're ready for a brawl at any second. Does this properly define the women of today? It's just a question. Drink the coffee.
Drink
It's
the
just a
coffee,
question.
it'll make you feel
I'm
better.
just the guy who serves the coffee. Don't be mad at me.
Proverbs 21:19, KJV, is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman.
I didn't even know there's 2 verses. There's 2. In Proverbs 21:9 and Proverbs 21:19, it's better. The second one says it's better to dwell in the wilderness, stuck in the wilderness, no water, dry, trapped, stranded, than with a contentious woman.
These verses illustrate the wisdom teaching that strife and constant conflict in the home can be worse than enduring discomfort or isolation. Different translations use slightly varied.
Do you guys hear that? Strife and constant conflict in the home, especially as a man. Why? Because a man, if you're going to take the Bible seriously, is supposed to love his wife. Yes, treat your wife wonderfully, amazingly, care for her, love her, right? Be loyal to her. And where you make mistakes, hopefully she can repay you with kindness and forgiveness. Yeah. But this says strife and conflict in the home can be worse than enduring discomfort or isolation. And that there defines why men would rather be isolated and lonely than be out here fighting you women in their household while you're pretending to be a wife.
Wording, quarrelsome wife, nagging wife, or brawling woman, but the essence remains the same. The writer of Proverbs warns that peace of mind is more valuable than the material comfort of sharing a household full of conflict.
Wow. Thank you, Miss Coffee. Very beautifully and clearly stated. We really appreciate that word. Here's someone else who says, you're not lonely, you're hidden. Is gonna end up in here too. That's right. God's hiding you, saving you for somebody special. Now, does God hide people? Yeah, he does. Does God have plans for your life? Yeah, he has plans for your life. But I think too many people don't think they have to do anything on their end. I'm somebody who definitely believes in God. I believe that God helped me secure the lovely wife, beautiful wife I have in my life. Now, here's another comment that says, the person leading the singles conference is going to act like they understand the pain of waiting, but they met their husband/wife at 19, have been married 30 years. Here's someone else who responded back and said, it's like it's a comedy show to the married folks. They sit there, they're just laughing. Someone else who says, exactly, talking about enjoy your single season. You got married at 22. You've always had someone. Try experiencing real adult problems at 30 alone. Here's someone else who says, as a 43-year-old who has never been married, but been praying for decades, all church single events are a waste of time. I wish they would admit they don't have the answers. They're never going to admit that. I don't think I have all the answers, but I'll tell you what I have. I have coffee, and that solves a lot of problems. Here's somebody else who says, I knew it was Atlanta. Somebody else who says, I refuse to go to a singles event in Atlanta. Yeah, I've heard a lot of terrible things about single events in Atlanta. So you may be thinking this is an isolated situation, but that's not the case. So there are a few comments that she actually responded to. This one was one of them. This commenter here says, I keep hearing about this. It seems like men are okay with being single. Oh, so this is the comment we read earlier. Okay, they're okay with being single if they are not showing up to these events. I heard the clubs are getting low too. So let's listen.
This is really good, like a great question, because I am very curious about it, except for the club part. I don't care Nathan about no club.
Oh, not good. Good for you.
Why do men not go to singles events? Like, why don't y'all go? The ones in the church, or just like regular single? I don't know. I'm only talking about the ones in the church because those are normally the only ones I go to. But why don't y'all go? And one of my friends was there, and I was surprised to see him at the singles event that I was at. And he was like, oh, I'm only here because my friend told me about it. Like, someone told him about it. That's the only reason why he went. He was like, if someone didn't tell him, he wouldn't have even knew or even came. So do y'all not know about it, or do y'all just not want to go? Like, what is it? Because at the end of the day, y'all the ones who get down and propose to women. So I'm just curious why y'all don't go. But I already feel like y'all got the pick of the litter anyways. Like, y'all don't really need to go. I don't.
Hey, there's some truth to that. To the guys out here who aren't really taking it seriously, and I'm talking about marriage and they don't want something long term, they have the pick of the litter to do what I don't think is healthy to do, which is chase women all day and clap cheeks. And the unfortunate thing are a lot of these chicks are letting them.
I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I'm very curious to know.
All right, so she wants to know, why don't men attend these singles events? Why is it something they do not look forward to? Top commenter here says, and this is a man, he says, no, I don't want to, and also don't really need to. So he doesn't see the desperation, the need to go there. Typically, man, a lot of these singles events are usually filled with men and women who are in very vastly different positions. The men have typically passed that marker of being looked at as somebody who isn't a potential for a long-term relationship that could lead to a marriage. Now they're looking more like a potential. They're past that age 30. What do I mean? When men cross over 30, they gain value, right? They typically are earning more, or they're finally finding their way in life, getting on their feet, finding their true grounding in life. And they're hitting checkpoints. Those men look more attractive to a larger number of women. When they were 25, maybe didn't have as much earning potential, so on and so forth, right? More experience and so on. Women, on the other hand, they hit 30, hitting 31, hitting 32. That sexual market value is steady going downhill with the quickness. Here's somebody else who says many reasons. So this guy's responding back. Why don't we attend singles events? Many reasons. But one reason I think men don't go is because they feel like attending these events makes them look desperate. I think women are less hung up on looking desperate, whether they are or aren't. And somebody else responding back. This is the actual content creator. She asked, "Are you a man?" He didn't respond. I think he probably was. A few more comments here for men. And of course, I want to know what you guys think. Comment down below. Why don't you attend singles events? So this next commenter says, depending on your past experiences, some of these women have done so much damage. We rather be alone than risk losing our peace. We just talked about that. Here's another gentleman who says, those events are tailored to women. And with all the balloon popping videos and what women seem to want from men, it doesn't truly benefit a man to go just to possibly get rejected by 20 women. Now you may be thinking, oh, is he giving up? No. He understands that these chicks are largely single due to their own delusional expectations and standards. Maybe even the exact same chick who's complaining about this and actually presenting the topic in this video. Here's another person here who responded back and says, myself, the reason why I wouldn't go is because a lot of women are seeking 100% complete men. And a lot of us are striving to get there, but women would much rather you come complete than build with you. And we just listened to a wife who talked about how she worked and paid all the bills while she was married for a short period of time. Why? Because she wanted her man to get a better job and he was getting stressed out at the job. You may say, well, he couldn't handle it. No. She encouraged him to do it. Something that when you hear the rhetoric that you see a lot from modern women today, that's not something you would expect them to do. In this next video, the chick responded back to the comment that said, they'll also tell you at these singles events, you're not lonely, you're hidden. And it sounds like they've finally figured out that that's a big fat lie.
Bro, this is one of the biggest ones I forgot. You're hidden. God is hidden you. Did he forget? Look, is God playing hide and seek and forgot to come get me? What are you talking about? How long am I going to be hidden for? This one kills me. And the first time I heard it, I was like, yes, I've been hidden from these losers. And when the right one comes out, he's going to release me and all of this. Sir and ma'am, stop telling me this, okay? Please stop using this. God, I know y'all have played hide and seek before and the person stopped looking for you. I know y'all. This one is too good. I can't believe I forgot this one.
I went to a Christian singles event, and here's why I think we're doomed to be single for the rest of our lives.
She says Christian single women are doomed. Christian single women are doomed. She believes that for the rest of their lives, doomed to be single.
That was a bit dramatic, but let me tell my story.
Let's listen.
So I went to singles night at Union Church's Charlotte campus. Now, I don't go to that church, but I started following Pastor Stephen since he was a guest pastor at my church earlier this month.
Right.
And when I found out that he was writing a book on dating and relationships, I was interested because, listen, your girl could use some divine intervention in that area. But I'll be honest, I didn't want to go at first. I figured it's a Christian singles event. There's going to be 11 women there and like 2 men. Plus, they were advertising it as a conversation that you wouldn't expect to have at church. And I thought, I've heard enough of those modern dating and relationship podcasts. I don't need to hear any more, especially not with a biblical spin. Instead of having meaningful conversations about finding and building Christ-centered relationships, the event was a Q&A about superficial stuff, like mostly whether to settle for someone who does not earn 6 figures. Like that seemed to be the hot topic of the night. People were asking that same question over and over again. And honestly, all that I took from it was that we're focused on the wrong things. You know, as Christians, we're called to be set apart. We're supposed to focus on things like love and faith and character, but we're focused on the same worldly things as everybody else.
So follow me here. This is all going to make sense when I'm finished. What's not being said here is when these discussions are being had, you have a group of single modern women, hungry, just hungry for marriage. And then you have a group of wonderful men. They're just wonderful in every aspect possible. No, just kidding. But you have 2 different types of groups of people. And she says that they can't move away from the talking points about men being economically attractive. My question to you is, who do you think is actually bringing up those conversations? Like, how do you think those conversations are actually coming up? Because I can guarantee you that the last thing men talk about when they're amongst each other, that they even want to talk about in front of women, because it's a highly vulnerable topic, is how much they make. Men are constantly thinking about being a provider for themselves, wanting to take care of people around them, especially the men who actually see themselves in taking pride in maybe helping out with their parents. Maybe they don't have a family yet. Maybe they might have a kid or so. But the last thing men want to do when they get together, unless the context fits that, it's some type of situation where they're talking about increasing earning potential or how they can make more money, so on and so forth. The last thing you want to do is talk about how much money they're not making or how much money they want to make in front of women. Women are the ones who redirect the conversations back to the 6 figures. Men don't want to sit around and say, are you making 6 figures? No, I'm not. Are you making 6 figures? No, I'm not. Even the men who are making that amount of money don't want to sit there and shove that in other men's faces, because they already know what it's like to not be there if that's a goal of yours as a man. So again, I ask you, who's really focused on these issues? It's most likely the modern female Christian feminists in these churches. They're bringing these topics up wherever they go.
Money, status, height. It just feels like we're missing the point when it comes to dating entirely. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that finances don't matter. I think it matters when you're building a life with someone, but we're not even at that level. After the Q&A, there was supposed to be a mixer, but I didn't know what was going on with that. There was no clear direction. We exited the auditorium and we were ushered out into the lobby. You know, people were hanging out, taking pictures, waiting to get their books signed. I saw a couple of church hugs, you know, side hugs, but I don't know that I saw any like actual connecting or like men and women like talking to each other. It's like we can't or we won't even have basic conversations, but we are so concerned about earning potential. We got these bingo cards.
Who's we? Who's we? If you don't know, there was a study done by Cornell University, and they showed that modern women are obsessed with earning potential, usually typically wanting their men to earn like 37 to 58% more than they do. This is what they found out when they sampled a lot of these chicks who were still single. Notice how I did not say these women ideally want to date horizontally, right? That they want men who earn as much as them. As they get older, of course, they want to compromise more. When it comes to that, this is hypergamy, female nature, but you should learn to suppress your nature. If the current economy is not made for single income households. And on top of that, I think a lot of these exaggerated expectations financially really come to social media brainwashing a lot of these chicks.
Words that I'm sure were meant to break the ice, but I don't even know if that was mentioned. The prompts were simple, like, what makes you smile? Or do you have siblings? Just followed on Instagram. But nothing about them seemed like they could spark meaningful conversations or show that someone was set apart or serious about their faith or even dating or like interested in dating. And yes, icebreakers are meant to spark conversation, but it was just so surface level. Like, where was the depth? At an event like this, I would have expected more encouragement to actually show who you are in Christ or to like have meaningful and intentional conversations. Again, we're meant to be set apart, but what was the difference between this and a regular singles mixer? And let me know, because I don't think I've ever been to a regular singles mixer either. And to be clear, I'm not critiquing the pastor. Like,
This is just sad.
even he seemed a little frustrated with the money conversation that kept coming up. Really, I'm talking about
By who?
Christian dating and how things just seem off. This event could have been a great opportunity for people to connect in a meaningful way, but instead, like, it just felt like going through the motions. So I ended up leaving the event. It was late and I wasn't sure what was happening, but now I'm wondering if I missed out on something, because I've seen some clips from the DC version that happened the next day, and it seemed like a whole different vibe. It looked like there was an actual mixer and people were encouraged to actually talk to each other. I saw a clip of the pastor taking a camera from a guy who was probably on the production team. He's asking him, like, do you dance? And then he like pointed him in the direction of a woman to like get them to dance. Wonderful. I don't think that happened at Charlotte. At least it didn't happen at the Charlotte event while I was there.
I can almost guarantee you what I think is it probably just had better editors. You know, it's just like the Tonight conversation, right? They show you those highlight clips. This is that exciting. And once you find out that the men who are there pandering to the chicks and leading them astray and were smashing the panel members, people are saying, oh, yeah, and it was boring and it wasn't that great. But it looks real exciting on camera.
But to be fair, I wouldn't count the entire thing as a waste. I got to connect with some amazing Christian women who I'm looking forward to staying in touch with. One of those women actually goes to my church. She sat next to me. Like, we go to the same campus and everything. What are the odds? I also met another woman who goes to the host church, and I would love to visit the church one Sunday and hang out with her. Even though the event missed the mark for me in some ways, I am grateful for those connections. But DC, Charlotte, what was your experience? Did you feel like the event lived up to your expectations? Did you connect with anybody in a meaningful way? Did you play bingo? Well, and for everybody else, well, what do you think?
Let me tell you something. I don't want another suggestion on how single Christian women need to find their man in the church. Baby, the men in the church are married. The men in the church are smart. The men in the church are 5 steps ahead. We can't find our husband in the church since they're married. They're taken. We need a new plan. What is the new plan? We need to ride at dawn. We need a meeting, a society, an organization, something. We need to plan something because, baby, the men in the church are taken. I don't want that advice anymore. I need to go to Lowe's or something.
So she says the men in the church are taken. I don't think a lot of men today trust modern churches. My take, top comment here says, yes, they're all married. And if he is sitting by himself, his wife is greeting a volunteer somewhere in the church. Somebody else here says there are no single men my age going to church on their own. You've got to ask yourself the questions. Why aren't men attending these churches? Why don't men want to go to church and listen to pastors like Devon Franklin, who wrote this book, by the way, called The Wait? who I've actually reported on countless times, caught red-handed, pandering, obsessed with pandering. It is crazy. But one good news I saw is that if you are ready to go to one of these events, you're going to be out here with the pick of the litter.
So I just got back from a singles event at Change Church in Duluth, and this is all I'm gonna say. If you're a single man and you are looking to get into a relationship or date or find a good woman, bro, I haven't seen that many women in one place since I went to a Beyonce concert years ago. I haven't seen that many women in one place since I was on a college campus. It was
Wow.
incredible. I was overwhelmed, overstimulated, but in a good way. Beautiful
This dude was like, they were all mine. Literally, I was the only one there.
women everywhere, bro. Everywhere you turn your head, a gorgeous woman, a
Right.
gorgeous woman, a gorgeous woman. And they're at a church. You feel me? Like this was a Friday night. We're all in a church listening to a sermon. There was praise and worship. They had games at the end of it. It was like one of those old school lock-ins. You know, the lock-ins we used to do when we were teens? It was like that, but we just didn't spend the night. It was phenomenal.
I wanted to spend the night. That's what I really wanted to do. I love how he's making this sound like it's a good thing. On a micro level, when it comes to him, I mean, you could say it. It's a good thing. Here he has a plethora, like a sea of single modern women to choose from who are not going to settle, not at all, and want you to pay all the bills, no matter the situation you're in. But if you're looking at this from a bigger picture perspective, there's a serious issue when it comes to that particular ratio.
You know, I'm in a moment of reflection right now, so I wasn't really looking to meet anybody. But
He's still taking it
if
in.
I was, it was like a freaking kid in a candy store. Like, it was crazy.
This dude showed up to the singles event and wasn't ready to meet anybody. He just showed up to look. He's like, oh, man.
Crazy. So shout out to Change Church for an incredible event. If you've never been and you're in Atlanta, definitely stop by for one of their services or one of their events, because wow. Y'all know I'm not the most religious guy in the world.
Right.
But I felt so comfortable. I felt so welcomed. It wasn't like I had to walk in there with a suit on and be screaming Jesus' name to be accepted. It was just real regular. We just happened to be at a church. It was dope, man. It was dope.
Let's read a few of these comments, see what people have to say. This top comment says, I attend Change Church and I try to convince my single friends to attend. Somebody else here says, later, dater here, I need to attend. Somebody else here added, I love Change Church. Dang, I wish I would have known about it. All right.